Marshmallow Fanboy back with another review, this time of Marvel Legends series Wolverine 50th Anniversary Brood Wolverine and Lilandra, as well as Target exclusive Marvel Legends Retro X-Men character Warlord, which is secretly Professor X. So I paired these up because Lilandra and Warlord are linked together in a story arc. Not only was Charles and Lilandra dating for a lot of the X-Men, but at this period of their lives, they were kind of living together, sort of she had become the Empress again, and he couldn't be just kind of an Earth guy who did, things with his mind or whatever. He had to be, sort of more than that. I think politically, he had to be seen as somebody who could protect her from anything and not just kind of, who he was. And Warlord didn't come with any baggage like Xavier did, so he wore the disguise. He was essentially Charles Xavier, but he was acting as sort of this powerful figure that was powerful enough to be aligned with somebody like Lilandra, because Lilandra's people would not accept just Charles Xavier the way he was. They would only accept this sort of beefed up, sort of powerful person next to her. And that's why I paired them up. Now, on the back it just says, when the Starjammers and the X-Men join forces to return the Shi'ar throne back to its rightful leader, they're guided by her mysterious warlord, who reveals himself to be Professor Charles Xavier. I don't think that's what happened. I think the X-Men, well, at least the readers knew who he was kind of all along. Maybe the X-Men didn't. Maybe the X-Men had just gotten there, and maybe he couldn't reveal himself to them right away. I can't remember, but it wasn't exactly a secret from the readers. It wasn't a reveal to the readers. I think the readers were there when Warlord was created. I'm not sure. It was over 30 years ago. This was a long time ago. As far as why Wolverine is paired with Lilandra in the 50th anniversary, this is the period where they spent it was public. The Brood saga went on for like 15, 16 issues. It was long. It was so long, in fact, that the X-Men were gone long enough that Professor X thought they were dead and formed the New Mutants. It's when the X-Men immediately get back to Earth and they go after Xavier, because the Brood is after Xavier, that they bust into the mansion and the New Mutants are like, what? Oh, these are the guys in the photographs. They think they're dead too. And then they throw down with the New Mutants. But this is during that. And of course, Wolverine gets infected at some point, but his healing factor proves to be too much for the Brood and just sort of kicks the Brood out. Which is very, that's badass storytelling back then. Like, he could do really incredible things, and that was something, he'd never done before. Now, if he gets infected with something and he gets out of it, you're kind of like, oh, yeah, I get it. That's what happens. So Andy Kubert picture on the back of it. I don't think that oh yeah, okay, there it is. Andy Kubert. I was like, that wasn't the real cover. Yeah, there it is. That was awesome. Just an amazing storyline. I don't know. Lilandra, I guess Lilandra was in that storyline, because it does say that, but I think they meet up at different times and things, so I don't know if they tackle it together, but I know the Brood Empire is a threat to the Shi'ar also. So that's all I remember. Isn't it amazing to kind of tune in and hear what I remember and go, oh gosh, this is all wrong. I remember it perfectly and it wasn't like this at all. To which I say, sorry about that. So let's bust these things open and take a good look at them in person. Okay, now that they're out of the package, let's take a closer look at them. Let's start with Wolverine, the Brood infected one. He comes with, of course, the hands with the claws out, and of course the hands that have the claws in. Can't see that. Here are the hands with the claws in. And of course they double as fists for punching. This Wolverine is on an older body with the double pin legs, but the older body is a little gummy in places. It feels a little gummy, but it's this body type is like the most. It's heavy in the right places, so it makes posing really easy. And I wouldn't trade that for, no double pin, because some of the double pin stuff is hard to pose. But I don't think that's new arms. I think maybe all the little marks are hair. No, it can't be. Maybe they're reused from like Cyber or something. I don't know if Cyber. Yeah, Cyber did come out first. Let's see. The wrists look like not the wrists. Right at the gloves. Kind of look like they would rotate, but they're solid. They're painted on. So maybe new sculpting here. And that is an absolutely new face sculpt for Wolverine. So it's a nice use of kind of it's not a repaint. It's just they put a different head on, and maybe they have different, it starts at the shoulders, but they could have painted that in gray. But it's still nice to revisit the brown suit. And can't really. Yeah, these are just new that I know of. The head is absolutely new. We've never gotten a Brood infected anybody before. So that is very cool. And that is Brood infested Wolverine. I'm not going to go through the articulation, but I just, this one has butterfly joints, which is very cool. But the rest of it is pretty standard for Marvel Legends. For Lilandra, she has two sort of grabbing hands, or two holding hands, one fist, and one commanding hand, kind of a go that way kind of hand. She has her staff. I'm not sure how. I'm sure that's accurate. It's just a weird staff. The top of it is very cool. It would have been cool if they had. It feels like this was just printed kind of in a 3D printer and no extra work was done, but it would have been nice to set it off with a color or to paint it so that it wasn't sort of see-through. It looks a little, maybe it's not see-through. Maybe that's my imagination, but it does seem insubstantial. A coat of paint on some of it would have made it look a little more vibrant, a little more solid. But I don't have any specific complaints because I don't remember what her staff looked like. As far as Lilandra herself, that's absolutely what I remember of Lilandra. I don't think I've revisited the character in a few years, but the tattoo kind of around her eyes, the helmet with the stripes, the brooch and the cape, the armor, the gauntlets, the leggings going right into the boots, the cape. It looks really amazing. And the best part about this figure is that even though it has the weird cape, it stands up just fine without any help. Pretty standard articulation on Lilandra. I didn't see anything that made me really surprised. The mid-torso has a little bit of rock, but it does have a lot of twist. Or not a lot, it seems like it kind of snaps back a little. Oh, it's fine. That was my imagination. But Lilandra is a cool figure. It looks really nice. Oh, that's very cool. The little point with all of the rays coming out. It's very cool. Lilandra is one of those figures where you're like, I got a Vulcan before I got a Lilandra. What the hell is wrong with that? We're still missing like a Deathbird and a lot of the Starjammers too, if you're keeping score. And I'm not keeping score. I don't remember what we don't have until we get it. But for instance, I mean, you have base bodies for the New Mutant girls. You should have a base body for the New Mutant boys, at least Sunspot and Cypher, and maybe a little bit of a taller one for Cannonball. But who am I to tell Marvel Legends what to do? Marvel Legends do it. Anyway, that is Lilandra. For Warlord, you had a Professor Xavier portrait. It's a little off-putting. It looks like he's happy, but it also looks like he's evil. And that was not sort of the impression that I got. Although maybe he did have to take off the mask at some point and sort of play a character to stay with Lilandra. I'm not sure. He comes with 2 fists and 2 gesturing hands. The 2 gesturing hands are on him, and of course the 2 fists are for punching. For Warlord himself, that helmet is really cool. Kind of reminds me of Strife's, but of course Strife it just looks like razor blades, man. It's really cool. And this helmet is really cool too. It's a pre Strife helmet. The thing on the back and the straps here look really cool. The thing right in the middle, it looks like he's got sort of the irises just whited out under his helmet, and that's definitely kind of like a Vulcan body, probably. Well, no, it isn't. I mean, it's got no pin knees, no pin arms. It's definitely a newer body in comparison to the Wolverine one. But like I said, the Wolverine it's a decent repaint, and Warlord is a good figure with a lot of reuse. I'm sure that the whole body is reuse, and the only things that's new is all of the equipment up here. The cape is probably somebody else's cape that they put in, and then just put the straps on and glued it. And then the helmet and the face sculpt are probably brand new. But that is it for Warlord. So that's Warlord and Wolverine and Lilandra. 3 great characters that build out your cosmic X-Men. Build out that period from, Dark Phoenix and the Brood saga and all of the things that happen, while they were out in outer space and a little bit when they get back to Earth. So get them if you still can. I think the 50th or the Wolverine 50 years, I think, is starting to dwindle a little bit. I don't see it pop up as much, and it's not in toy stores or anything. So if you can still get it, I encourage you to get it to fill out that cosmic X-Men roster. So until next time, enjoy your toys.